Houston Healthcare is an award-winning multifaceted healthcare provider with locations throughout Houston County, including 2 hospitals, 3 urgent care med stops, Women's Center, Heart Institute, surgery and rehabilitation services, and a variety of physician practices, serving the needs of residents and patients from all over Central and South Georgia, with over 2,000 healthcare professionals committed to providing the best possible healthcare for our community. Houston Healthcare, advanced medical care, closer to home.
Again, it's good seeing everyone. I'm going to start with not surprisingly, a book quote from The House of the Seven Gables. That book we all know is that boring one we read back in high school. But Hawthorne wrote this. He said, "Life within doors has few pleasanter prospects than a neatly arranged and well-provisioned breakfast table." I think that's good. Think about eggs and issues. What do? We take that neatly arranged and well-provisioned breakfast table and add a whole heck of a bunch of friends, right? I mean, we come together, we have a good time. This is always such a special event. I know we are all desiring to be in person more and more and more, and this is really one of the highlights of our month. We do want to thank our sponsors. The Eggs and Issues program is presented by Synovus, and we also want to thank our host, Houston Healthcare. Now, this particular session sponsor is Warner Robins Building Supply, so this time we're going to call Mr. Jim Taylor and Mark Baer up here to say a few words, if you would come.
Good morning. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Shane Gottwals. How many of you know about Gottwals books? Okay, I'm a marketing guy, so I came up with a few things. If y'all notice, I've got the Gottwals socks on, and they are about construction and all this. At Gottwals Books, now you can use this slogan if you want. They have you covered from head to toe. So, no good? No good. But my name's Jim Taylor. I do business development and marketing for the company. And we've got an announcement to make to y'all in a few minutes Mr. Baer is going to discuss. But up to that point, some of y'all maybe know but don't know about a little bit of the history of Warner Robins Supply, Warner Robins Building Supply. My father-in-law started when he came home from World War II. He's also a veteran, and came down here with he and his wife and their little 1-year-old daughter, and came down with a U-Haul trailer and decided to start a business up. And he started out with a keg of nails and a dream and a 12-man tent down where the LEC sits today. And today that business now spans throughout Georgia, here in Middle Georgia, North Georgia, Western North Carolina, and South Carolina. So, and a lot of that had to do, the expansion had to do over the years because my brother-in-law Mark and the vision that he had, we've always been extremely appreciative of of Robins Air Force Base. That's what brought me here. I was in the Air Force with the 5th Mom a number of years ago, just decided to stay. I became a damn Yankee. I stayed. And in fact, I did one worse. I married a girl from here. But that was 40 years ago. And, you know, we took on the name of the town that we live in. It's like the town took on the name of Robins Air Force Base. And what I love about it, there's only one Warner Robins in the world. You don't even have to say Georgia. There's only one. So, but again, Warner Robins Supply kind of upgraded their name a few years ago, changed the brand to add building into it because we're also on Henson Building Materials up in Western North Carolina and South Carolina, and then Mountain Building Supply up in Blairsville, Georgia, and Hayesville, North Carolina. But I did want to introduce the table of folks that are with us today. Mr. Chris Baroni is our general manager. Linda Atkins is our savior. We also call her, she's Mr. Baer's assistant. We can deal without him, we can't go without her. So we need her. My daughter Claire is sitting at the table also. Then we have Kathy Chambly, who is our Homeworks manager. Her daughter Peyton Gates is with her, and then Leanna Marino, who's with the commercial division. We got a table set up over there. A lot of people know that we sell sticks and all that kind of stuff, but they don't know that maybe we do kitchen and bathroom modeling, and we do a lot of commercial door stuff. So that's why the table's set the way it is. But I wanted to take just a minute, kind of give you all a little background on us, but most importantly, I want to yield the rest of the time to Mr. Baer. I told him he's got 20, 30 minutes max. And so So he'll, I know April's look, and I know she's packing this morning, so I told him it won't be long. So without any further ado, our chairman, Mr. Mark Bear.
Jim, I think you went over 2 seconds. Good morning again. Thank you. Warner Robins Supply Company. We've been here since 1947. We're the oldest company in Houston County. I'm proud of it. We've been very successful, but I want to share one thing with you. Back in the recession, the Great Recession, which there's a lot of young people here that may not remember it, but us older guys do. It was horrible. Back in 08, 09. And I don't know how many of you have talked to a bankruptcy judge, but that's what we did. We came that close. We almost lost it. And because of the support of this community and our people that work for less pay and less hours, we survived and have since prospered. And since that, we've done very well, and we've become attractive to a lot of national companies around the country and world. Actually, for 2 or 3 years, we've been talking to various companies, but I was always looking for the right fit. I wanted a company that believed in what we believe, which is, it doesn't matter what you sell, you're in the people business. So it's all about people. Well, we went through several great companies, but we found one that seems to have the same values that we do. So we've gone from being the oldest company in the county to the newest company in the county. We are now merged with another company, a national company. But the good news is we're going to be the same. We're still going to be the same lumber yard up the street. When you walk in there, you're still going to see the same people. Becky, Andy, you might even see me, unfortunately, but nothing's going to, we don't think anything's going to change, and that's why we chose these people. So I wanted to make the announcement to my community that we have moved on. We have sold to a group of young, energetic, ambitious people with the same values we have, and we are going to grow like gangbusters. And when I say grow, I don't mean our company's going to change, but they want to buy a lot more companies, and we will get larger, but we won't change. And if we do, please call me and tell me. I want to know. I have their pledge that we will still be the same people-oriented company. So, having made that announcement, I guess I'm through. I've gotten some congratulations this morning, and I thank you for that. I really think this is an effort to get rid of me. Unfortunately, I'm still going to be around, so thank you so much.
Thank you again, Warner Robins Building Supply. This time I'm going to ask the board chairman of Synovus, again our presenting sponsor, to come forward for a few remarks and to introduce our panel. Jack Nash.
Thank you, Shane. Good morning. We're glad to be here. It's my pleasure to represent Synovus this morning at our Eggs and Issues breakfast. I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of this community, and more importantly, I'm glad to be just in the room with a bunch of people. I'm glad that we can meet in person and be here and especially to discuss such important and meaningful topics that we have this morning on our agenda. Today we're going to hear from an esteemed panel about our workforce development, which if you're like me, a business owner, everywhere you go you see a help wanted sign, either in the window or on the billboards or somewhere. Everybody's looking for employees. And so this topic today is a very, very key, important issue for our business community and here. And so we understand and know the pandemic has impacted all of us. And we're, at some level, we're dealing with trying to get back to some type of new normal, ever what that is, but we're all dealing with it, are we not? It doesn't matter what industry or what part of business you are, but we're trying to figure out how to retain our employees. We're trying to figure out how to add additional employees. We're trying to how to manage sometimes a workforce that is partially remote, which is very, very new to a lot of us. Somebody like me that has been in business for 45 years, I don't understand that, but a lot of you do, and it's hard. Here in Houston County and here in Georgia, we've been very, very blessed, but we're not immune to the restraints and to the pandemic has put on our workforce, and so we here still are trying to deal with these issues. The good news is that Georgia unemployment rate has dropped for 14 straight months now. It's down to 4%. As jobs increase, and so that's the good news. We're blessed. My company, we deal with many different manufacturers all over the United States, and so we hear the horror stories in a lot of different communities, and so I feel like we're very, very blessed here in Houston County and here in Georgia, and so but we still have these constraints, and so we need to understand and know how the pipeline management here in Houston County, which is already in place. We already have tools and programs and how to connect students to employers, and so we're here today to learn more about the resources and about new capabilities. And so I know you are probably like me, you're eager to hear what's going on and how maybe they can help us and some of the tools and some of the resources that we can gather. And so I'm eager to hear about the agenda today. And so April, you and the panel, if y'all would come and y'all give them a round of applause, and we grant all of you.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you to all of our sponsors and our hosts. As he mentioned earlier, I'm April Bragg with the Chamber, and it's always a great day when I get to stand in front of a room of my peers and counterparts. I want to say a quick thank you. I had an opportunity to talk with my friends Lisa and Jessica from the Small Business Development Center just a second ago about this program. Just scoot on down. There we go. And we were discussing the fact that doesn't matter what the topic is, we're going to have 150 to 200 plus people, community leaders, development partners, government officials, and of course our friends from Team Robbins here, because what we're discussing as a community is important to moving our community forward. We know that what once was old is new again, or we got to try new things, Mr. Bayer, right? To revitalize and to keep Robbins strong. So because we have such a distinguished group and in an effort to really spend some time in the topics, we're going to forego the formalities of introducing everyone who's here, but I do want to say a special just welcome to our base commander, Colonel Droz. This is her first Eggs and Issues. We appreciate you and everything that Team Robbins does. So it's always an exciting day when I get to spend time with my good friend Angie Giesling. She's the Executive Director of the Development Authority of Houston County, and she has assembled an esteemed panel for us today to really talk about all things workforce in the big picture, but specifically the tool of U-Science that's been here and integrated into our school system for some time now. So I'm going to let Angie make some opening remarks and just kind of share some big picture thoughts with us, and then we're going to get started with our discussion.
Thank you. So Angie Giesling, Executive Director for the Development Authority of Houston County. Glad to be here with you today. I realize that we've gone 1 year without a report, even though it does seem like yesterday. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what has gone on in the world of economic development efforts in the county since we were last together. So of course the primary function of economic developers is to attract and retain and expand the businesses that are in our communities with the goal of job creation and increased investment. Economic developers have strong relationships with core businesses in their community and work with them to solve problems that may lead to business leaving their community. There I am. Increasingly, firms' major business problems are related to workforce development. The challenge now facing companies is how to secure a pipeline of qualified labor. This is why the Development Authority has a person that's dedicated to workforce development and ongoing support of our existing industry. She's not here, she's on vacation, shame on her. But Becky Lee, as many of you know, has been that person for us. So the key is to build these coalitions between our educational institutions and businesses to seek sustainable solutions. And this success comes through partnerships, and many of those partners are in the room today. I'm so glad to see. Our Middle Georgia Consortium is our main point of contact on workforce efforts, and Daryl Stillings and his team are here with us today. Central Georgia Technical College, I see Andrea is here, always at the table with us. Our university systems, our economic development partners, and we're so glad that our Georgia Department of Economic Development Senior Project Manager, Candace Scott, is here with us today. Flint and Georgia Power also serve as great partners. Department of Labor, also our school system. Can't forget about that. So very pleased that Sandy Couillard is here today. There is one group that you're going to hear mentioned over and over again today, and that's our Houston County College and Career Academy. They, as a group, had an important meeting today, and so our principal and CEO, Sabrina Phelps, could not be with us. But I want to announce and brag on her a little bit. So last week, she was selected by her peers across the state as the Administrator of the Year. So I know that Dr. Scott's here and some of the board members, and we cannot do this without your team. So thank you for always supporting us and having them at the table with us. So during the pandemic, which of course is something none of us had ever dealt with, we discovered that our companies indeed do rely on the Development Authority and our partners, and fortunately they knew who to call. And I have to give a shout out to April because of any chamber of commerce that I followed across the country and how they were responding and helping businesses. Your effort was stellar and remains so today. So all of our existing industry, this may be surprising to you all, they all fared very well. And particularly proud of how quickly they responded to the safety of their employees, and that continues on today. They quickly responded to that threat, and just to point out a couple of things that did happen, probably the company that experienced the most success and had to respond the quickest was Clean Control. You can imagine with a product like Odoban, it started immediately flying off the shelf. Now, Steve Davison was already expanding their facility by 50,000 square feet, but still realized that he needed a place to start storing this product because he could not make it fast enough. So he had to quickly find a 70,000 square foot warehouse to store his product. But his response was spot on, and believe it or not, he was ready for it. And if you know Steve, you know he's ready for most anything. The other big responder in all of this, and I don't know if Jay Flesher's here, But Jay, with the Firestarter Fab Lab, partnered with Robins Air Force Base. So Lieutenant Colonel Jay Viscara called me and said, look, I'm on to something. We're working on a mask. We're waiting on approvals for it, and we'll be using 3D printers to make it. I had to think about that for a minute. And he said, we need all partners, across the community to help. We need to deploy every 3D printer we have. And so the Fab Lab quickly responded to that. Our first business that we supplied to was Houston Healthcare. And that was a great day. And from then, the mask continued to flow, and then they moved on into other PPE, such as making gowns. There were several announcements, believe it or not, during the pandemic, or there was an attempt to make announcements. So in March of 2020, we were ready to announce a large expansion for Frito-Lay. And that we had been working on this project, took a lot of community support on this because we were competing against 5 other locations across the country for Frito-Lay. We were the only location that did not have space under roof to support this project. And usually when we're working with existing industry, they're doing 1-line expansion. A lot of our companies are getting aggressive and looking to the future that we're doing 3 lines. So we were behind in a large respect because we did not have space for this project. We're really fortunate that our Governor Kemp, came to the table with the help of Candace's encouragement to put in an offer, a grant, to tip the scale, and I would say it did. That, along with just the quality of the workforce that we have here, made it work. And here's the interesting point, okay? I know that it's what made the project work. And when you're investing like they did, $200 million, it was an amount under $1 million for sure. So you can imagine that that's still a very small fraction of what this company is going to invest. But it was just the sentiment that made a difference to them. And we realized that. We kept trying to make the announcement. The pandemic hit in March. We waited until July. Is it a good time now? And the company came back and said, we just don't feel right about this. This is a time when we're supposed to be helping communities, helping our states where we're located, and we don't feel right about receiving money. Do you think your governor will be offended? And of course he was not. He was taken aback. I dare say that has never happened before and probably won't happen again. But I tell you this because it speaks to the corporate citizens, the community citizens that we have, and the relationship we have with all of our local industry here. Sandler, our German-based company, they were in the middle of their expansion. They were adding 135,000 square feet. The general contractors were on the ground, and 12 Germans who had come over to install the equipment that's unique to Sandler were quarantined into a hotel room. And they're watching the news unfold. This is March again. They're watching this, and it came to a point where we had a concern that we could not get them back home if we didn't respond. So reluctantly, we had to send them home because there was, of course, the concern, when can they come back? When are we going to finish this project? And we can't do it without them. There were around 15 German Sandler employers that were coming over because you can appreciate with a new line, they were having to train our American workers. All of their visas were at some point in the process, and our embassies closed. Got a lot of help from our congressman and moved a lot of those through. So remarkably, they were only 3 months behind once they were able to get all of this equipment online. But truly a remarkable story for them. Our last announcement was Interfor. So this is the second investment that Interfor has made in Perry since 2019. And talking about community-minded, these folks are really wonderful. And the last 3 expansions that we've had with them, one expansion has led to the other. And I tell you that because you don't always know if you support a project what will it lead to next? Will it lead to anything? And so the first one that dates back about 5 years ago has led to 2 additional large infusions of money into Perry. The notation I like to make about the project we had before this one that just announced is that as part of that, they said we would like to respond to the congestion that we cause on Wall Street because their scales are right at the front of the property. So you had to wait on each truck to get finished on the scale before the next truck could come in. They said, we want to take $500,000 and put in a scale on the back part of this property and alleviate some of that congestion. They didn't have to do that, but they did. We've had 2 defense contractors to add 100 positions each that are all coming online. If you've been down I-75 South, you've seen the large solar array. It's over 700 acres, and that's a partner with our EMCs, including Flint, across the state, and a company called Silicon Ranch. This helps us in a lot of different ways. We have a lot of companies, not just new ones that want to come in, but ones that want to expand here that ask, what is our stance on bringing on more renewable energies? So when we can show this large solar array, when we show the large one that's at the end of Robins Air Force Base, that's very helpful to us in showing who we are as a community. We also continue to work with another company that would invest over $250 million here. So still a lot going on in spite of things. And I think, and I know you'll all agree, is the announcement that we're most proud of and will remain one of our favorite projects is Project Synergy. We have this opportunity, and I dare say that in 8 years, there has been an opportunity of this caliber and this level of commitment that was required to come to our communities from Robins Air Force Base. And we can all appreciate how many times we pose the question to them, how can we help? How can we support you? And some of us might have been a little taken aback when this request came. Brigadier General, I'm still going to call him that, retired, who cares? John Cabanet, who is not here with us, I don't think, but I count on the partnership table back there to carry back this message to him, brought this project to the community, and he entrusted us with this, and it required a very quick response. And in the end, this turned around with a lot of encouragement and dedication from Chairman Stolniker to move this through. So I have these quotes that we keep up on our website that come from General Cabanet, and I just want to read those to you. A lot of communities can say, I support my base, but when we put on our water towers and we cut our hedges as you drive into town, we all saw that as we pulled up today, that every day in Middle Georgia is Armed Forces Appreciation Day. If we say it, that's one thing. But if we show it through our actions, which was done through Project Synergy, that's a whole nother world. And that's why I'm proud to partner with y'all on everything that we do. We articulated a need and this community heard that need. They could have done a lot of things about it, but what this community did is take action. And that's why we're here today, 90 days later. And I bet Candace will attest to, we never work projects that end in 90 days. It's just unheard of. And so this was to make this announcement with this partnership with Robins. And I must say that this has been so fulfilling because it showed us that there was a level of trust between the community and the base, and it showed that they thought even broader than just inside the fence, and they recognized that there also was a need that for the College and Career Academy to have space for a computer science lab, because we had just worked with Robins and our other defense contractors to put together a software engineering platform for our high school students, and so they quickly cleared the way and made space, and I'm not going to steal Philip's thunder because he's going to tell you a lot of good news about that. So one thing that was asked is, what do we contribute these successes to? And it just really comes down to the really strong partnerships that we have, and most importantly, the trust that is felt throughout this community. And this is a community that says what they're going to do, and they do what they say.
quite an update. You know, when my counterparts, yeah, give her a round of applause for that. Guys. When hold the microphone for just a second. When my counterparts across the country, you know, I'm on calls with them and they talk about, you know, work halting in their community and in their state during the pandemic. And I think about the work of the chamber and the businesses that we represent. I think about the work that the Development Authority was able to lead in our community. If anything, they certainly didn't slow down, but in many ways they sped up. And it gave us opportunities to focus on some things. And I'm so very grateful for the leadership of the state and locally to continue to press forward and to see that as an opportunity for growth instead of just stopping and throwing our hands in the air. So I want to thank you, Angie, for your leadership. And before we get to Rich, I'd love for you to give the crowd a background. I know many in the room are familiar with youth science and they understand a little bit about what it is, but can you share a little bit about the history of integrating that here in Houston County and how all of that came about to sort of set the stage for the rest of our panelists?
Well, I'm so glad to have my dear friend Rich back in the fold and on the youth science bandwagon again. He really introduced us to the full potential of this tool, and I'm going to let him talk to you a little bit about that. But I also want to say something else. Youth Science license was purchased by our State Department of Economic Development. A lot of you remember Dr. Barbara Wall, and she has become a real expert on how you marry educational efforts with economic development, and so she's been a huge cheerleader for this. Now, what our school systems were given was an option. You can use this youth science aptitude assessment, or you can continue using the quick and dirty, just for no other way of putting it, that you use now. And we quickly had a commitment from Dr. Scott that yes, this tool would be used here. And I must say that we led the way. We're always working regionally. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But we led the way because not all of our other 10 counties in our region were on board with this. And it really helped to get all of them affiliated with this as well. And we've had so much help from Rich, but we continue to expand the uses of science, and there's a real dedication. Sandy, I dare say I don't know the number of hours that you invest in trying to figure out how we better use this tool, which means helping our students, and you'll learn helping parents as well to navigate into the best career opportunities. So I'll turn it over to Rich and let him talk about the tool and tell us a little bit more about himself.
Awesome. So Rich is the Chief Engagement Officer with Youth Science, their Business Development Officer. And so Rich, if we could just start out with, you know, what is one of Youth Science's most significant workforce development discoveries here in Georgia?
Okay, well, I'll first start by saying that we've got a couple of affirmations. And the affirmations are that Georgia is a really phenomenal state. And I'm so proud to be a Georgian. And also to see so many people that are focused, that are hyper-focused on workforce development and making sure that we continue to be the #1 place to do business. The thing that we discovered more than anything goes back probably about 3 years. We have over 500 different careers that are a part of the Youth Science platform. So when a student goes through the aptitude game-like exercises and measure things like numerical reasoning, sequential reasoning, time frame orientation, hand-eye coordination, there's about 10 different aptitudes that we measure. But those measures help us connect young people with a best fit career, and there's 500 of them. Well, we went and did an analysis, and we said, okay, well, we can't look at all 500, so let's look at the top 50. The top 50 career recommendations across about 100,000 students at the time that we had that completed their Youth Science profile. Well, what we discovered was that when you focus on interest only, the interest recommendations for careers, 80% of the time pointed our young people to things that were social and artistic. And that has a lot to do with how kids are wired. You know, they like to help people, they like to have fun and engage with other people. And that's great. But a whopping 0% of the top 50 career recommendations were pointing them in high demand careers. Things like architecture, engineering, transportation logistics, manufacturing. You know, the things that are very important to y'all. But when we focused on, say, aptitudes, we looked at those separate from interests. What we discovered was that in those top 50 career recommendations based on aptitudes, 54% of them actually pointed kids to those high economic demand careers. So we quickly realized that there was this misalignment of talent, that we could play a very important role of getting back on track so that we can help identify talent, direct talent, and in the end, keep talent local and grow our economies.
Absolutely, and I will tell you, one of the things that I think truly, if not the thing that sets you science apart, is that marriage of measuring both interest and aptitude, because you and I, Rich, may both have an aptitude for engineering. I went on to major in theater. So employers wasting their time pursuing me for that, really were insignificant. But I think it's so important to identify those opportunities because, as you said, they really are there in that top 50. So, Melissa, I want to shift gears just slightly. I know that the school system, along with the Development Authority, partnered with Houston Healthcare on an effort utilizing the U-Science assessment to target students in the schools that have an aptitude and interest in careers in healthcare. Can you share with us a little bit about that More Than Scrubs program?
Absolutely. A couple of years ago, Houston Healthcare partnered with the Houston County Development Authority as well as Central Georgia Technical College and Houston County Career Academy, and they hold a health sciences summit each year at Central Georgia Technical College at the Roy H. Sonny Watson Health Sciences Building. Through that, Houston Healthcare has been on site. Some of our individuals are here today and provided some information about some of the healthcare careers that we have. Some of them are in clinical areas and non-clinical areas such as HVAC systems, business administration, IT, and that has been well attended. You've got more than 200 students that are there from all the Houston, the high schools here in the area, so it's well attended. And through that, we've been able to do some apprenticeship programs at Houston Healthcare. So it's a very well attended program. Last year, we've got another one coming up, I think in February of 2022. So we're looking forward to that. And it's, like I said, well attended.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I think everybody in the room knows her, but Melissa Fagan is representing Houston Healthcare today. And she is the chief of staff there, and Chairman Stonecker, and I know others will say she's the one that keeps everybody straight. So we certainly appreciate your leadership, and you're representing Charles Briscoe today for us.
And before you move on to the next question, you all were talking about the past year with COVID. I know Mr. Briscoe has probably come up before and just thank the community for all that you've done this past couple of years. Houston Healthcare could not have done it without the county, the city of Warner Robins, the city of Perry, our community partners, our local businesses. We appreciate everything that you've done for our system in Perry and Warner Robins. It's been a tough year. Our staff has had a tough time. Many of you around the room have probably lost loved ones to COVID. So we just want to thank you again for being there for us, and we're thankful for our partnerships.
Thank you so much for that, Melissa, and all the great work that you guys did throughout the pandemic and continue to do to provide quality health care here in Houston County. So Philip Rowan is the Deputy Director of the 402nd Software Engineering Group. He's also in this year's leadership class, so this is definitely seeing a different side than I normally see of Philip. But Philip, we know that the 402nd Engineering Group has also benefited from the recruitment of high school students utilizing U-Science. Can you discuss your internship program and opportunities for the community?
Sure. So for past years, we've always had an internship program with college sophomores and juniors in STEM-related fields that we reach out into the community and abroad. But this year, we've been able to do something new, leveraging Project Synergy and the partnership that we have with the community and with the Board of Education and Sabrina Phelps with the Career Academy. And we started a paid internship program for those seniors who have been accepted into STEM-related degree fields, into universities who have that desire. And so we've worked with the Board of Education, and so where they work with their students and the aptitude tests and kind of finding out the desires that they've had. And so we created this program first year where we have 30 high school students from the local area. They're working actually over at Project Synergy with some of our scientists and engineers. And so the great thing that we're doing there is we're taking the interest that they have and cultivating that and supporting that. And we're actually teaching them. We're teaching them software development, some software languages, and then we're also teaching them just like professional development type topics, like preparing them for the workforce. And I think it's great for us because we're making the community aware of the technology and STEM-related jobs in the area. We're going to be selfish, like we would love for them to come work for us and support our mission, but just also encouraging them and going into those fields and giving them a leg up so that when they go to the universities, they actually already have a little bit of education, a little bit of real world experience. And so it's been great working with the community, Houston County, the board, and Sabrina was great in us developing the program, engaging with the students, engaging with the parents, and the facility. So I have to brag on Angie and just thank the community for everything that has gone into Project Synergy. Peak of the pandemic, and we kept pushing through, and we made this happen. We have this beautiful facility that is really allowing us to engage with these students and engage with the community. I will tell you, I had the opportunity about a month ago engaging with my peers at both Tinker and at Ogden, and they were very jealous of what we were able to accomplish, and they've been asking me, like, how were you able to make this happen? And the number one thing that I've told them is that it's the partnerships with the community and the support that we got, and without that, there's no way that we would have been able to accomplish this. So I just thanks to the community and all the leaders out there that supported this activity and helped us. This has been outstanding.
Well, and I think you hit on a few things that are so critically important. So, whether it's through our youth leadership programs or other initiatives that we have in our school systems, we love to offer opportunities and showcase possibility for our students to go to school, go off to university or technical college or wherever they may go, and come back here, because there are those jobs here that they're going to be able to utilize their skill set and explore those interests. So many of the people in the room are parents and grandparents, aunts and uncles. How can they learn more about engaging in this program? What do their students need to know in order to get connected with these potential opportunities?
So thanks, April. So so we work closely with the school systems on advertising the program. So for the high school program, this was our first year. So we had to kind of start off on a little bit smaller, right? So we targeted about 30 high school students for this. And we actually used the school system as a distribution system, if you will, for information. We are on social media, so we put stuff on that, so you can follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. But really just, I guess, being engaged with the school system, the counselors that are guiding these students. And that's for our high school program, which is the first opportunity for your students that are looking in these fields. And then also, we go to over 30 universities in the Southeast recruiting for internships as well when they're in college. So if you have students that are, whether it's Mercer, Kennesaw, Middle Georgia State, Georgia Southern, or even beyond that, we're recruiting. The demand is there, and we would love to have local talent here supporting our mission.
Very good, that's exciting. So Melissa, we're going to come back to you. I know that Houston Healthcare has also partnered and expanded its partnership with the College and Career Academy. Can you share with us how many students you all have brought on as interns through these programs, and how you see this benefiting both the hospital as well as the students involved?
Absolutely. We appreciate our partnership with Houston County Career Academy, and beginning in 2019, after our first health summit that we had about 14 students, high school students, that did an apprenticeship at Houston Healthcare. Some of those areas were our emergency medical services department, pulmonary, our labor and delivery area. So it really provided a way for them to kind of get ahead, to get some experience in those areas, especially if they were interested in the healthcare field. So it really kind of gave them firsthand look at that. Last year we did not have the program due to COVID, but this year we've got, I think, over 26 students that they'll be interviewing, and it's just a vast variety of areas at Houston that they are going to be at Perry Hospital as well. I think in 2019 they worked over 2,800 hours during that time frame, and it really just helps us, as you know, in healthcare and some of the other organizations, we're just in a critical staffing need. People are tired this past year. It's been tough on healthcare workers, and just having them exposed to these areas just provides that knowledge and help them for when they get out in the real world. So we're hoping that brings on more our recruitment efforts, and we've actually expanded not only into our high school but our regular workforce, where our human resources department, and Cindy's here today, we appreciate her being there. We've done some extensions where we know that some of our key critical areas of our clinical areas that are being hired, we've got kind of on the spot, we say, hiring, depending on their background check. So, you know, with that being said, you know, we're trying to hire them on the spot. That way we cut the recruiter out. There's not days that they're sitting out there waiting to get a call. So we're hoping that helps with some of our critical staffing needs as well.
That's awesome. Thank you, Melissa. So, Rich, I'm going to come back to you. You know, we talked about, you know, when U-Science was first introduced into Georgia public schools, that it's the only tool of its kind that measured both student interest and aptitude in relation to their future career recommendations. I know some updates have happened with that. Can you share those and how that's been advanced even further?
Okay, I'd be glad to. Well, we work primarily with education. That's our tool, our niche. But at our core, we're a tech company, all right? So in tech, if you're not always updating, you're going to be outdated real soon. So what we've done over the last couple of years is build a series of products that help making us better and help us to serve more clients, more students, more young adults. We began with U-Science Profile, which was designed for high school kids. And then the Department of Education came along and said, well, we think this is pretty cool. We think middle school kids should get exposure too. So we then designed U-Science Snapshot, which was a less intense version, but for middle school kids, 6th and 7th graders in particular. But then, right before COVID hit, we decided we needed to do a little bit more expanding, and we actually did a merger with a group out of Utah called Precision Exams. And their primary focus is in the credentialing business. So they had a product where they provided examinations, end-of-course examinations that give students certifications in 200 different areas. So imagine a student who's in a CTAE program in one of your high schools here. Perhaps it's a welding program, could be healthcare. In addition to them completing that CTAE pathway, we now have an opportunity for them to take one of our exams, our nationally industry recognized certifications, to add an extra benefit, extra bonus on their marketability as they progress through high school and into the workforce. So we're really excited about that partnership. It came at a very inconvenient time, like we literally merged and then the bottom fell out when the lockdown hit, but it allowed us a lot of time to tweak some things and get it rolled out, and we're really looking forward to Georgia and the rest of the country being able to leverage that tool.
Awesome, very good. Philip, we're going to swing it back down to you before we wrap up with Rich, but we know that the competition for talent is fierce, particularly in the engineering fields. So you mentioned a little bit about your recruitment efforts, but if you could expand that to really share with us how you attract STEM talent to Middle Georgia and explain the different hiring needs and programs that you have in the software engineering group.
So, sure. So for as long as I can remember, we as a group have worked with the engineering directorate on the installation and reaching out to universities across the Southeast As I mentioned earlier, there's over 30 universities that we regularly visit. Typically in the fall, we've also added more spring visits. And a lot of it traditionally would be your in-person recruiting activities, talking to these students. In the past years, I think we've made some big steps forward, leveraging some congressional hiring authorities. We've done more to do on-the-spot job offers, doing interviews on the campuses there with students. We've done things to invite students down here to show them around the installation, discuss the mission, kind of let them see what we do, and that's a big piece there. For us, STEM, so science, engineering, those in cyber-related fields, the need is there, and really globally, the need is just so increasing, and so we've had to look at working once again with the engineering directorate and some hiring authorities on how we can increase the starting salary, how we can leverage some accelerated promotion plans so they train, they develop, and they move forward rapidly. We've been leveraging also the past couple of years now some retention incentives. So we started off with doing like a student loan repayment, and then realized that not every student out there has student loans they need to pay off. So we said, okay, let's make a slight pivot, and now they get a signing bonus when they come on, so we kind of give them some money in their pocket to help them get established, and then for the next 3 years, we give them a retention incentive there. So it's helping us be more competitive with industry. One thing that we tout is the tuition assistance that we offer and the great schools in the area. So there's numerous options here locally in Houston County, in Macon, in Atlanta, as far as getting advanced degrees. So trying to kind of push that advanced degree. We always talk that Houston County is a great place to live and work, right? So raising a family and talk about the school systems, and just it's a great place to live. There is kind of a challenge when you have 22-year-olds that are not necessarily thinking about having kids right away. So, you know, bridging that gap and trying to, even more now so with the intern program and the large number that we have, is really pushing all the community activities that are going on, whether it's the park in Centerville, or the Food Truck Friday events in Perry, or the festival, the Cherry Blossom Festival. So, you know, it's trying to kind of show them all the activities, both in a personal and a professional realm, that they can enjoy and come down here. You know, it's a very hot area as far as hiring, so high demand there. And that's part of why we have increased our internship program. We're over 100 interns for those college interns, and then the 30 in high school. Is the engagement early on, getting them attracted to what we do, and just like seeing the mission, getting some hands-on experience. And so we've been doing that. I think there's more opportunity for us to work with youth science and how we can leverage that, which is outstanding. So yeah.
Yeah, very good. If you'll pass the mic on down, I think Andy's gonna actually piggyback on that real quick.
Well, in talking about youth science, I know we've talked a lot about the focus on the high school students, but this is also an assessment that is available at all of our technical colleges. Central Georgia Tech takes advantage of that tool, and also our WorkSource agencies. And if any of you think you need to take a look at your career choice, then we'll make sure that Rich gets you a pass to get online and do that as well. But this is what I want to mention. So I said this is available in all of the high schools across the state, and a lot of students are taking advantage of it. However, they take it and they're done. And there's been a commitment that's been made here that each student will have the opportunity to really explore the science, and it is so exact, the science that is behind youth science. And I wanted to mention that in the More Than Scrubs event, we did a demystifying aerospace careers on base as well, and looking at developing out this software engineering pathway and opportunity for internships there. Youth science was used. These students were pulled based on those assessments that were made. So I have to go back to Sandy Couillard and Sabrina Phelps for their dedication to make sure that this tool is utilized to the max. The other thing we didn't expect to come out of it, we did the More Than Scrubs because we really wanted to expose students to all the careers across the spectrum in healthcare, and it is more than scrubs. So we had HVAC and engineering represented, EMS, it just went across the board so that everybody had a full picture of it. What we didn't expect were that the internships would come out of this, and that was such a nice surprise for the school system, I know. And also, the internship program that developed, that Philip's talking about, both of these entities had not had partnership, internship, shadowing with high school students, we know, for at least 8 to 10 years. And this opened that door. And so I encourage you that if you've got a high school student, an 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, find out if they have sat for this assessment and help them maneuver through it.
Yeah, and as an employer, I think it's so important. So Arlie and I both have taken it just to understand the depth of topics and aptitudes that are measured, and have a little bit of familiarity with what you're asking, for prospective employees to go through. But it is a great, self-analysis as a working professional to kind of see those things and how it's all mapped out, where you are now and perhaps where you might want to be in the future. And to speak to your integration point real quick, Angie, I know that, we worked that into your program with our high school juniors who participate in our youth leadership program, as well as our reality check program. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. I won't go into a deep dive, but basically it's a day in the life of your 26-year-old self, and students are matched up with career opportunities based on their youth science, so the closest careers available, and then they may or may not be assigned a spouse, children, and then they have to go do life and figure out how to have money at the end of the month instead of month at the end of the money, right? And so it's an amazing opportunity for them to see, hey, maybe I should look a little more seriously into another career opportunity that I have a strong aptitude for, because I don't know if this is going to work, for me and the desired outcome. So I think there are tremendous integration opportunities, which leads us to really, I think, the critical takeaway for the business leaders and community partners in the room. Driving, Rich, I'll direct this last question to you. Driving local economic growth is vital to Middle Georgia communities. Can you share the tools that YouScience provides to assist employers, economic developers, chambers to best achieve this goal, and how can we all become more engaged in this process?
Well, thank you.
You got a red light, so I'm going to give you mine, and I'll move to the podium.
Red light. Okay, how about that? Okay. Well, the thing that I'm most excited to share with you is a project we've been working on about 2 years now, and it is the official launch of the YouScience Talent Marketplace. So we've done wonderful work over the last few years. 500,000 plus students have completed their YouScience profile. That's from middle school all the way up to high school, and as Angie mentioned, in our technical college systems. So we're excited about that. But I've had employers that have been bugging me for like 2 years, 3 years, going like, okay, well, that's great. Well, how do we get in touch with them? Well, we've actually built a tool for you to actually do that. And so the marketplace allows employers to post your company within the YouScience platform that all these kids are looking at. And based on their aptitude and their interest results, companies that have opportunities that align with their aptitudes and interests will be prominently featured in the talent marketplace. And they are geographically centered, meaning the students see opportunities that are in closest proximity to the zip code that they input when they created their YouScience profile. So that's awesome. And here's the best part about it all. You've been such great partners with us. We made that tool available to all of our employers, chambers of commerce, economic developers, at zero cost. So we just want you to we just want you to join us in helping these kids connect the dots. I've got a couple of brochures on the table. If you read through those, there's a link on there for you to learn how to get engaged. And if
we actually have a video.
And I think we have a video to show you just how simple and easy it is to get engaged and become a part of the marketplace.
Perfect.
Welcome to the YouScience Talent Marketplace. As an employer, you can create a profile for your company and students can click on the Learn More button to go to your company's webpage. To get started, fill out your name, phone number, and email to verify your email address. Within 15 minutes, we'll send you a verification email. Once you select the Get Started button within the email, you'll be directed into the Talent Marketplace. Next, you'll create your employer profile in 3 simple steps. First, add your company locations or areas you'd like to pull local talent from. You can do this either by zip code or by city name. Once you've entered the locations, click Save in the top right corner. Next, identify industry career fields relevant to your company or opportunities. On the left-hand side are industry categories. Once selected, certifications will populate on the right. These are certifications that students are taking nationwide and are relevant to that specific industry. You can check or uncheck the certifications that demonstrate the skills and knowledge you're searching for, or certifications you want talent to have earned. If you'd like to learn more about each certification, you can view the knowledge standards in depth by clicking on the corresponding link. Once you've selected the industry and skills needed for your company or opportunity, click Save. The last step is to create your company profile. Fill out the required fields: name of company, number of employees, website URL, and upload your company logo. Then summarize what your company does in the next field. Finally, indicate any hiring advantages that might be applicable to students who've earned one of the certifications you selected in the last step, along with internship or apprenticeship opportunities you're offering. You should see your name and contact information at the bottom. Once you're finished, click Save. Your employer profile is complete. To learn more, visit our website at uscience.com.
Awesome. And as Rich mentioned, there are brochures on the table that share with you the information how you can get your company or your organization on the talent marketplace. So students who have the aptitude and interest that matches the jobs that you have available will see that information and have opportunities to learn more about future workforce opportunities. That's also going to be dropped into your inbox tomorrow in our recap email. So in case you don't grab one of them, don't worry about that. We'll make sure that the link is available so that you can pass that along to your HR departments, your hiring managers, and others that may be interested in participating in this connection. I want to thank Angie and all of our panel. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. So as we discussed, most of today's conversation really was about future workforce, right? But we all know as employers that we also have a tremendous responsibility and ever-growing demands on retaining the quality workforce that we already have. We know that leadership development is a critical component of that, identifying leaders within your organization and you as organizational leaders providing that kind of strategic leadership that is necessary to move our businesses and our community forward. We have a tremendous opportunity right here in Warner Robins coming up on August 5th and 6th. Southside Baptist Church is partnering and participating as a host site for the Global Leadership Summit. And we're going to watch a quick video of that. But Will Perez in the back, Will, stand up, wave your hand. Will is going to be outside with information where you can register yourself or your organization to participate in this exciting leadership event. Take a look. They've got a tremendous lineup of leaders from across the world.
I wanna feel good.
Awesome. So we are excited to be partnering with that event, and I want to thank all of you again for coming today. Y'all make sure you grab your Warner Robins Building Supply goodies on the table, and we are going to be right back here next month with Chairman Stolniker and a host of people. I won't necessarily give away what we're going to be talking about, but as you all know, we are celebrating the 200th birthday anniversary of Houston County, so we've got a lot to celebrate, both in our history as well as exciting days ahead. So thank you all for coming. Y'all go out and make it great. We'll see you next time.